Okay, it's like so we completely reviewed with an example, okay, for Spring Boot related starter projects, and also really the different type of features like Spring Boot provides for the faster development. So all those things, like we have covered in those in one of the project what we have seen yesterday, right? So yeah, not only that, actually, we are going to cover about how to utilize, Spring JPA, okay, in Spring Boot project. So we'll start with JDBC today, and we'll continue that, with a couple of examples. One second. Yeah, one second. My PPT is not working. Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, so this is what learning JPA and Hibernate approach. Okay, so what we are trying to do now, like we require a database that is H2, a database which will come with Spring, right? This is in-memory database. This is not like Oracle or any other database that we use it in our applications, right? But yeah, it is like pretty similar. Whatever we can do with those databases, okay, so we can still do with the same thing with H2, okay. But every time when we start the application, we have to store the table related information. We have to create the table and we have to store the data, okay, every time when we start the application. Okay, so for now, like what I have done, we can just utilize only one table, and we have one class that it can store all the data directly whenever the application starts. Okay, so in that way, I'm going to give you the example, okay, but it will cover JDBC and JDBC, Spring JDBC, and the JPA and Hibernate, like it is not mostly like Hibernate, but we'll learn JPA, and will the JPA will be useful, okay. And when it comes to the Spring Data JPA, I think we'll be able to understand like how the Hibernate implementation will be. So yeah, it is like pretty much similar. Okay, so learning Spring Data JPA will give you more view and insight on the Hibernate implementation as well. Okay, so these are all like the kind of different implementations when we connect to the database. Okay, so first one is like JDBC, and then we are going to check on the Spring JDBC. Okay, so and JPA and Spring Data JPA. Okay, yeah, the first one, JDBC, we write a lot of SQL queries. Okay, and it is kind of writing everything in the SQL query, and put it into the string, and we used to execute them. Okay, and also it's not simple to write a Java code as well, because we have to write a lot of steps to execute these queries in Java. So that is what the JDBC, which we are going to discuss. So first JDBC will learn, and then we go with these things. Okay, finally you'll see how much automation that we get it from Spring Data JPA. Okay, so let's go and start the project. Okay, okay, so before that, I wanted to show you like how this H2 database is going to work, right? So in an application, right, so how to get this enabled. Okay, if you go to the pom.xml, yeah, so there is a dependency that we definitely need to add it. Okay, that is, com.h2 database. Okay, so if you add this one into your application, okay, so then it will Spring Boot will be enabled with the h2 database. Wherever we required, we can utilize it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, just a minute, I'm just to let me go back and just copy into this. Okay, so I'll show you first like how the h2 database is going to work. Okay, I just added it here. Just let me do a manual update to apply. Okay, yeah, I think we should be good. Okay, so when we are running the application for first time, right? Like when you enable this H2 database, okay, so it will like okay, one second. Creator is enabled. Mhm. Yeah, maybe it did not picked up. One second. Okay, that's fine. I don't think so. It is picking up the dependency. Okay, just a minute. Okay. Okay, so let me start this application itself. Okay, so yeah, when we start the application, generally what happens? Okay, so okay, yeah. So if you see here, there is H2 console available. Okay, so this is the H2 console. The database will be available for us, and uh, so I just wanted to show you something. Okay, so like whenever we were talking about this one, right? Why we have hard coded this one, because like generally this database will be created on fly, like on memory, right? So it is always will give you a uh, different type of JDBC, connecting URLs, right? JDBC URL will be always different. Okay, so to make it like constant kind of thing, so what we have done, like in the application.properties file. Okay, so we have hard coded this Spring H2 Spring data source.url. Okay, hard coded this one. Okay, and now I got it. 1 second. So I'll show you something. Okay, yeah, let me stop this. Okay, on GPA demo. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let me run this. Okay, now we'll see H2 console. Yeah, that's okay. I'm not sure like why it is not picking it up. Yeah, I'll check later. Okay. So yeah, so let me continue with the same demo on this application. Okay. Okay. So for this application, so what I'm gonna do first, we are going to learn on JDBC, and then we are going to go with the JPA and then Spring Data JPA, right? So yeah, I will internally cover Spring JDBC as well. Okay, when we are covering JDBC. Okay, the first one, uh, to prepare this application to use H2 database, right? So what we need to do, because as I mentioned, this is an in-memory database. Okay, so we need to always create the table. Okay, every time whenever we start the application, right? So because once you stop the server, okay, so it will, the H2 database automatically will be disabled, and whatever the data that we are trying to store into that H2 database will be you know uh, vanished, like it will be removed. Okay, so how to access this, right? Just simple. Yeah, just keep on executing. 1 second. So the accessing H2 console is simple, like just go to your browser and localhost H2 console. Okay, so this is our H2 console, like which you just need to, you don't require to type anything. Okay, so just verify whether if it is demo DB or not, and click connect. Okay, so I already have a lot of things. Okay, that in this I already have much um, you know a different type of code, okay, to insert the elements into a course table, and so that is why you're seeing this course table over here. Okay, and when I click, see, we already have these, okay, the data as well. And if you really want to execute some queries, insert statements, whatever you want, you can still do the same thing over here. Okay, and you can execute it, and it will work fine as, it will work fine as same as the real databases. Okay, so I'll show you, look, like we'll be trying to insert, and we'll be trying to delete all those things from our the Java program. Okay, so yeah, let me go back and we'll start that. Okay. Okay, for this project, I have used one bean. Okay, so that is like holding all the course related information, that is ID, name, and author. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to comment everything, whatever I have it over here. And okay, so yeah, the simple way, to run this everything, always we have to run this application, okay, using, okay, one second. Okay, I'm just, enabling the whole, one second. Okay, so let me go to the JDBC repository class, okay, and I'll show you what what exactly is going on, okay, over there. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is very simple. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, um, like we have couple of classes, to make sure that our code is working fine. Okay. While connecting to the H2 database, right? So the first one is we need to consider there is a plain Java object, okay? So which is having a kind of, a course class, and inside that we have three different type of private variables, okay? One is ID and the other is two strings, okay? And name and author, okay? So it has some certain like different setters and getters method, to maintain, to push the values into it, and to retrieve it, okay? So what is happening here, okay? So we were trying to create a course JDBC repository, okay? So in this course JDBC repository, you don't require to have this repository as well, okay? Yeah. So in this course JDBC repository, okay, we are creating, couple of queries, okay, which can help us to insert some data into, the H2 database. Okay. So we have created one insert query and insert query one, and there is one more delete query. Okay. So okay, to make sure that our insert and delete are working fine in the H2 database. Okay, and when it comes to here, the JDBC template. Okay, so this is our main class, right? This is the central class. Okay, for JDBC. Okay, and it is going to help us, to connect. Okay, to connect the database using JDBC. Okay, so it executes core JDBC workflow. Okay, leaving application code to provide SQL and extract the results. So what it does, it generally doesn't have kind of without a SQL query, and we will not be able to connect to the database, and will not be able to execute it. So this is primary JDBC template which will be giving you all the details from the SQL using the queries only. Okay, so it has kind of Yeah, so this JDBC template is going to provide a lot of, sorry, what do we say, like, yeah, it has a lot of other classes, to sorry, methods, okay, to perform different type of operations on the H2 database console. Okay, so we use JDBC template, okay, to run the basic JDBC queries. Okay, and when I come to the course command line runner, okay, so I was using command line runner, right? Why? Because this class is actually helping us, to start the DB, okay, with the initial values. Okay, so command line runners are, going to start whenever the Spring Boot application is starting. Like, uh, you don't require to specifically ask, this class to be executed. So this will be auto executed by Spring, and whatever the things that we required, actually it is going to be executed over here. Okay, so that's why I have used, the command line runner, to get those, JDBC calls executed whenever the application starts. Okay, so let me show you like how it works and all. Okay. Okay. So if I run the application now, okay, I got it. 1 second. Yeah, I might remove that repository. Yeah, because this repository is auto wiring, okay, over here. Okay, so that's why I have to either give as component, or I have to give it as a repository, because if it is um it's a JDBC, like, yeah, I think yes. So 1 second. What was that? Okay. Creating bean with Yeah, just a minute. Okay. So I think, I just need to disable that JPA properties. Okay. Okay. Where it is. It's declared on GPA repository just as configuration, not a managed type. Okay, so it might be happening because of this. We just remote it. Entity ID. Right. Okay, one second. Let me just enable this again and see whether if it is going it or not. Okay, so do I have anything? The course command line runner. Yeah, I'm not really using anything here. Okay, so yeah, let me okay. Okay, guys, if you see this course command line runner, actually we do have a couple of things. First one, we just get this auto write with course JDBC repository. When we are saying auto write, the data, so Spring is going to take care of this object. It will be created by Spring and will be injected to this class. Before running these two methods. Okay, so before that, it is going to create this course JDBC repository. So in this, like, I made it as repository so that, Spring can understand this is, a kind of database related calls, right? Like, so it will be auto managed and, and yeah, so it will be auto managed by Spring. Okay, and why we were using AutoWire for the JDBC template as well. JDBC template is, from the Spring framework class. Okay, so Spring is always like, whatever the classes that we are using it from Spring, you don't require to create an object. You just, you can utilize at the rate AutoWire so that, Spring can manage those JDBC template object, and, it will be injected before, coming into your class, right? So we have a couple of insert queries, okay, and one is delete query, and also that what we are trying to do, we were trying to use public void insert. Okay, okay, so JDBC template dot update and JDBC template dot update, okay, which we were using it for insert query and also the delete query. So this is our basic JDBC queries, okay, and this is how we are going to insert them into the H2 database. So this insert was already done, okay. If you see here, so if you we already started H2 console, okay. So let me just go there and just do a refresh, okay. Let me connect it, and if you see the course table, yeah, see. So one is already entered. Like, why we have one record? Because, we inserted two records. One is this one, and the another one is to Java. Okay, and I have deleted uh, one of the ID, from the application, right? From the database. So that's why we were seeing only one insert query which was executed, and so it actually executed both, but one was deleted. Okay, so this is like very plain approach, to create a JDBC request. Okay, JDBC call using the existing queries, right? So now, if you wanted to insert multiple times, like, you have to always create these kind of queries, multiple queries, and we have to execute this insert method multiple times, right? So instead of that, yeah, we have placeholders like that. We can utilize those placeholders, to get values inserted, continuously within a loop, or the way whatever we choose. Yeah, we can choose it, and we can insert into the database. Okay, so let's go and check that. Okay, I'm just commenting this, and I'll just enable this one. Come on, it's because of one line. Okay, one second. Yeah. So what we have just done, okay. So instead of going with the initial insert queries, like for each and every row, we have decided to use the placeholders, okay. So which will actually minimize writing that queries, right, to every time whenever you wanted to insert something, you have to write a new insert query. But using the placeholders, it actually make very simple to write, uh, to insert the values, okay, whenever we required. Okay, so the change is only one thing, instead of the values, okay, we have just added the placeholders. And for the placeholders, and we you can see here, right, the placeholder, we were using same JDBC temp, okay, JDBC template, and to the update, and we were just giving the query, okay, insert query. This is the update method which we already have it inside the Spring API. So in the update, actually we were passing the same insert query, and for the values we were just passing the course get ID, get name, and get author. Okay, so at the same way for delete and get by ID, like for select query, okay, uh, for delete we are passing ID, and for a select also we are passing ID, right? So what we are going to do now, let me go back to the command liner and just comment these two. Okay, I'm just enabling this one, insert and delete, and this is the system out.println. Okay, yeah, so let me run the application one more time. Yeah. So if you see here, we got some output over there, select query output. Okay. So in the command line runner, actually we were using this, right? So report.get by ID 2 and report.get ID by 3, right? 2 is Azure and 3 is Java, right? So those things, we got it here. Okay. So, but we have to check whether, this is really inserted into H2 database or not, right? Just do a refresh and log in again, and yeah, if you click on yeah, so if you see here, there are three rows which are inserted using the placeholders. Okay, so the placeholders, and one of them was deleted because we just requested report or delete for 4, correct? So I can do something. Okay, so 1 second, I'll just add this report or delete for at the end, and we can just use this for 4 values, right? So that it will be easy, like whether the data is really inserted or not. 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? And I'll just add one more. Deleting record 4. Okay. Yeah, let me just restart the application so that it will take care the latest changes, right? So run as Java application. What happened? Yeah, yeah, I got it. Okay, 1 second. Let me just run it again. Okay, so if you see here, so what I was trying to do, okay, so I was trying to retrieve that get by ID for 4, Okay, so it gave me an exception saying that, okay, this is like, this fourth record was not available in the, in the database. So it just gave me an exception over there. Okay, so I just removed that line. And, so if you see here, whatever the queries that we have added, okay, so it inserted into the database now, and later it just deleted, the record 4. So now in the database, we should be having only 3 records. Okay, so let just confirm that one more time. And yeah, so we have 3 records, right? So what we have just learned, right? Like, initially we were learning the JDBC, okay, writing the queries and all, okay. And now we just, made it like, to work runtimely perfect, with the placeholders, so that, we can easily, insert more data compared to the previous approach, like the JDBC one, right? So now we are going to discuss in more detailed way how Spring Data JPA is going to help us, to insert the values, right? So let's go and check it. I'm just placing this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm just removing this and just enabling course JPA repository. Oh, okay. So this is also insert get by ID, right? Okay. Once again, this is for the JPA, right? Spring Data JPA. And yeah, we can still utilize the same thing. Okay. Yeah. Uh, okay. And this is for delete by ID, get by ID and delete. Okay. Perfect. So I've just, open the same thing. Okay, so now what we are going to check, like, it's not writing any queries. Okay, so we have to like insert the, using Spring JPA, right? So what we need to do if to make this Spring JPA as a repository. Okay, so I just added this, at the red repository, and the transactional is, utilized for transaction management. So I'm just saying that, Spring has to take care the transaction management, whenever we have some issues with, inserting or deleting. So it has to roll back, or, it has to commit all those things, roll back and commit. I'm just leaving it on Spring. Okay, so that's why, I'm just giving this at the rate transactional, annotation, which was used on the repository side. Okay, so this is very important. Like, we whenever we are writing, like, data into the database, so we generally make this transactional, like, either the commit or rollback should be successful in case of any issues, on the database insertion. Okay, so that's why, we just declared this at the rate transactional, and the repository is as same. Like, always, if you wanted to make sure that, you have you're connecting to a database or something, yeah, make that particular class, to as a repository. And the same thing, we need to utilize it in the course command line runner. Okay, so it is auto-wide now, course JPA repository, so that whenever Spring creates this object, okay, whenever it sees that repository, it is automatically maintain this as a component, and that component will be auto-wide with your command line runner class. Okay, so what is the difference, right? Here, instead of using JDBC template, we were utilizing persistent context. Okay, so this is the persistent context is one of the annotation. Okay, annotation which will be used for entity manager. Okay, so this entity manager is like same as the JDBC template that we are going to utilize, but yeah, but there are like differences when we use entity manager. Okay, so we don't require to this provides a lot of other features. Okay, when it compared to the JDBC template, you don't require to write much code, and everything is maintained by Spring, and the Spring is going to take care of all the transactional, or the whatever the code that you're just writing only one single line. Okay, so you don't require to write the queries as well. Okay, so the entity manager is responsible to generate those queries, and it automatically performs those database calls. Okay, when we call certain methods like merge, find, and remove. Okay, so entity manager is having one method called merge. Okay, so what it is going to do, it is going to insert the values, okay, into your course table. Okay, and you can see, right, there are no queries over here. Okay, and there is nothing that we were trying to utilize in part of JDBC queries or something, right? We are just calling one method and with all the details of that course class. So why this is utilizing only course? Because we declared course as entity, right? So entity means, like, it is we were representing this course class as a database table. So that means whenever you declare it as at the rate entity, so this will be considered as a table name. Okay, and if you have any different name, okay, so you can still add those name is equals to course details, or the name whatever you wanted to give, you can give that. Okay, so but yeah, so in this there is a primary key that which we are talking about at the rate ID, that is the course ID. Okay, so when we come to the Spring course JPA repository, you don't require to write any kind of queries, right? So let me just run this application. Okay, let me just run this application, so we'll know like how the application is working fine, right? Oh, okay, one second. It's already started. Okay, but application. Yeah, so what it is doing, right, when we start this application, so initially it is creating the table. Okay, so we were just, I told you, like, every time when the application starts, it actually check for creating the table. Okay, so the h2 is in-memory database, and it is not going to have the data once the server is ended, right? Okay, so what we are doing here, if you clearly observe, okay, so we were just talking about using this merge course, and find, and also remove, right? So for all these methods, actually entity manager is taking care of insertion, updation, and deletion, right? Insertion, select query, and deletion, right? So for each and every insert, So we were executing, like, the entity manager is executing couple of queries. First one is whether we have any of any record previously exist on the database with the same ID. Okay, if not, it is executing the insert query. The same way it applied for all the insert queries. Okay, okay, till here, like 1, 2, 3 inserts, because we have 3 inserts, I think. Yeah, sorry, 4 inserts, right? Okay, 4 inserts, correct. Yeah, I just skipped one. Okay, so 4 inserts were completed, and then I'm just trying to get by ID, right? So get by ID also, it is going to execute the select query with that ID, and it is giving the output for you over here. So for all the select queries. Now, what I was trying to do, we were just deleting repo.delete of 4, right? So when we are deleting this repo.delete.4, so Hibernate again, executing the 4, whether this record exists in the in the application or not, right? So that's why it just executing that, and it just deleted, like, the ID with the last statement. Okay, so yeah, so if you go back and check it in the application one more time, in the history console, so you'll be able to see only those 3 records again, and yeah, so one record will be deleted. Okay, so this is like very fairly very simple code when we have compared with the JDBC template and all, right? So let's see, the other implementation, Spring Data JPA. Okay. Okay, I'm just placing these things in comment. Okay, and let's enable this. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and how we are getting all these queries, right? It's very simple. Like, we do have a property called Spring JPA show SQL true. That's why, we were getting all the, SQL statements on the log. Okay, so if I disable this one, you won't see anything, on the logs. Okay, so yeah, so let me come to here. Okay, so this is course JPA repository, which we already just discussed, right? And yeah, so this is the one which we are going to discuss it right now. So okay, so like, let me remove uh, once again, find by author, find by ID, find my name. Okay, once again, just let me remove these two. Okay, okay, and then just let me terminate it. Okay, so I have like a lot of changes now. Okay, okay, guys, if you okay, so if you see here, okay, so if you see here, this is the implementation for Spring Data JPA. Okay, so you don't require to write any of the method. Okay, anything that you required. Okay, you just need to pass only 2 things. You just need to create an interface. Okay, so like I just created course Spring Data Repository. So this is my interface name, and this interface extending one more interface which is called as JPA repository, and JPA repository will be taking the table name and the ID. Okay, so this is what the implementation is. Okay, we don't require to write any single method, when we are using Spring Data JPA. Okay, so you don't require to write any queries or any methods. Just implement this interface, okay, JPA repository, and create a new interface. And that interface, we were just utilizing in the course command line runner. Okay, whatever we are doing it here. So we were just, just enable this core Spring Data JPA repository. That's it. Okay, so you are going to execute, or you're going to run all the things, whatever we are doing it with the queries, and we are doing with the entity manager earlier. So all those things can be done with the same implementation. Okay, so you don't require to write anything. Okay, so you just need to go here, just see report.save. Okay, so whatever you wanted to pass, that course object, because in the JPA repository you are mapping with course. Okay, course object, so that means you have to pass the course object related details, and this will save the data directly into your database. And if you wanted to delete something, yep, go ahead and do report.delete by ID, and yeah, so it will be deleted. And if you wanted to retrieve something, so report.find by ID, so it will be, retrieving those values, from the application find by ID 4L. Okay, so let me just run this. Okay, I think it's already run. Okay, so if you see here, it just executing all those things, and it was like giving you the output course ID, and it inserted all the records, and I'm just trying to retrieve 4 and 2. So it printed course ID 4, and it printed course ID 2. Okay, yeah, so what exactly we're going to do with this, right? And this Spring Data JPA is going to enable new things for us. Okay, so if you really want to write user defined methods, okay, like we were just finding where we are just retrieving the data using find by ID. So if you wanted to write mm, yeah, okay, so I don't know, like with the meeting will be ended or not, but I'll just continue. Okay, so for one to couple more minutes. Okay, and once this is done, tomorrow we'll continue with the next topic. Okay, so if you have any questions, we can discuss on that tomorrow. Okay, yeah, so what I was trying to say here, uh, we were having this find by ID in the repo. Okay, so repo is our course Spring Data JD, JP repository, and this is a predefined method from Spring framework, right? So if you really want some other, right, find by author or find by name, if you wanted to create your user defined method, it is pretty simple. Like you just go here and just write something like this. Okay, so I'm just trying to add find by author, that is string author, and find by name, that is string name. Okay, so you have to definitely follow this find by and the column name, and find by and the column name. Then only this application code is going to work. Okay, whenever we wanted to retrieve something using this. Okay, so let me just enable that and come back to the command liner, and I'll just remove this. Okay, so I'll just run this application, run as Java. Okay, see, so you'll see the differences. Okay, so first one, we were just trying to save the 4 records into the H2 database, right? So it executed all the insert queries, okay, for 4, and once we are requesting for a delete by ID for 3, so it executed a select query and it ran the delete query. Okay, and if you wanted to retrieve something, we were just using find by ID. Okay, so I just gave find by ID, so it gave me the 4 and 2 record. Okay, so 4 and 2 records. Okay, and then what I was trying to do now, I was like using user defined method. Okay, report.find by author. Okay, so this is our author, right? And this is our find by name, right? This is the name column and this is the author column. So find by author, I'm just giving ABC hyphen, sorry, space training. So I need to get 3 records, right? So it gave me 3 records for that, ID 1 and ID 2 and ID 4. Okay, so which are based upon author. Okay, ABC training. And and I just executed some plain method kind of thing, find by author. Okay, so it is like give me empty results. Okay, so because this author is not present in the DB, right? So the same way I have just given find by name full stack Spring Data JPA. Okay, so full stack uh, Spring Data JPA is there only for record 2. So it just gave me the record 2 over here. Okay, and similarly I just executed with an empty string, so it did not give me anything from the query. Okay, so it's like very simple when we are going to use Spring Data JPA. You don't require to write simply anything, okay, until unless if you really require some kind of retrieving different various implementations, right? Like find by author or find by name. So this was not available at Spring Data JPA, but you can always implement whatever the methods that you really required to get to perform something on the database. So this is how the code utilization, right? From when we compare from JDBC to Spring Data JPA. So that much simplification that you really see. That's why that's why I have given these things. We generally we do with JDBC, we write a lot of queries, and we write a lot of Java code as well, right? So in the Spring JDBC, write a lot of SQL queries, okay, but lesser Java code. It's only one simple line, you'll be able to execute the JDBC related things, okay. And the JPA one, yeah, we really don't require to worry about queries. Okay, so we just need to map those entities and tables. So the JPA will take care of the queries part, and we need to write a bit of Java code that actually perform the database insertions and deletions, and updations, right? All those things. But when it comes to the Spring Data JPA, yeah, it makes like very simple. You don't require to do anything, right? You just implement that interface with the JPA repository, and you can just call save, update, delete, whatever you want. You can just call it, and just pass the required entity object to insert or to delete, whatever, right? So it will take care of everything. Okay, you don't require to worry about it. Okay, so that is where the difference when it come to the simple JDBC and Spring Data JPA. Okay, so we'll see like the what exactly we are going to do with Hibernate and JPA, and we'll see those in tomorrow class. If you guys have any question, let me know. I can um you know I'll try to clarify. Yeah.
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, so I have one thing, like you guys are able to understand these things, right?
Basically, it's a new concept and like it's too fast. So I am revising the topics each by each. So that's how
Okay.
it helping me.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So that's why now if you have any questions, because this is not like the course which what I can say, like it will not be able to, I will not be able to go in deep.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to say, like we, oh sorry. Okay.